Welcome to this special edition of the Geeks of the Roundtable. I am your host, Keston, also known as Ryuichi. To the left of the screen, we have Eric.
I'm not sure how the editing is going to be working, but hi, I'm Eric, aka Necro, Necro V, Necro Visual. I'm on social media, I guess, but yeah, that's me. And right down below us or next to us or anything, I again don't know how
editing is going to work.
Formulating editing is going to be working. Listen, we've all seen Perfect Square at some point of our lives, but the Perfect Square, Kyle Hebert.
It's not even my final form. I feel like this is almost like the opening to the Brady Bunch,
right? Yeah, like that.
We're all just looking around.
Yeah,
we just need more people now.
Yes, definitely.
But go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell our lovely audience who you are.
Hi, I'm Kyle Hebert, and I've been doing voice acting this is my 22nd year. Started on a little show no one's ever heard of, Dragon Ball Z. And I was cast as adult Gohan. Fight you? No, I want to kill you. And then I took over next time on Dragon Ball Z. And then moved to LA, and I got on things like Bleach as Lord Aizen, Naruto as Kiba. Let's go, Akamaru. And then I got Ryu in Street Fighter. Hadouken! Got Kakuin and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. No one could just deflect the Emerald Splash. And oh my gosh, it just goes on and on and on and on. Woo!
The resume is quite stacked.
That's right, including this guy right here. It's me, Fat Gum, from My Hero.
The GOAT.
Fun enough, I can't wait to cosplay him sometime soon.
The coolest.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
The best of the adult heroes.
All right, so like a lot of people want to know, like, what got you into voice acting? Like, what made you want to start, the voice acting journey?
Well,
start with the lame questions first.
It's just a common one. People want to know, and it's important to know people's stories, and everyone comes from a unique background. And I was just like, I don't want a real job. No, it is a job. You have to work. You do have to work at it. It's just in a different way than like a 9-to-5 job. It's like, when I was a little kid, I didn't know such thing as, freelance, contract, you're on your own, you're paying more taxes and all that stuff. I just knew that creatively, I wanted to do that. So I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, watching Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and all that stuff. And when I learned about Mel Blanc, the guy who voiced all those classic characters, that kind of planted the seed. So I would take a cassette recorder at the time. This was the 70s, folks. And I would take a turntable. Back when they were before they were retro and cool, they had a turntable, and I would put on the records and pretend to be a DJ and do different voices and stuff. And I just kind of did that on my own because I was really shy. I had a difficulty memorizing lines, so I didn't get involved in school plays and all that past elementary school. I wish I did. I'm kicking myself because I learned as a grown-up that it's all about acting. That is the foundation of which any actor, whether you're on screen, on camera, behind the mic, that's what really, really counts. So I kind of did it backwards, but I did end up getting a degree in broadcasting from University of North Texas, right outside of Dallas. And then I worked at a radio network from 93 to 2005, including Radio Disney. So I did kids radio.
It's funny because that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, because one of my friends brought up that you were a DJ on Radio Disney.
Yeah,
that he was.
I did. Squeegee-tola, Squeegee-rama. I did all sorts of. I had my stage name on air, and some other voice actors also came from Radio Disney. Kara Edwards, who did Videl and Goten, and lots of other anime, including My Hero nowadays. And we were on the air together, and next thing you know, we're behind the mic for a completely different project called Dragon Ball Z. So like, what? This is crazy. I'm already a fan of this stuff, and then suddenly I'm working on it, and I'm getting to put a notch, a check mark on the bucket list thing. It's like, oh my God, this is my dream come true. I wanted to be a DJ on the radio and then do voice acting. And then I've just been like entrenched in that ever since.
As Eric is an inspiring up-and-coming voice actor, like, this is
Stop. I don't want to do anything. Look, man, I'm a nobody. This man's a god compared to me.
No, I am just associated with things that are big and popular. I'm a very lucky person who gets to be a part of this. And I always champion and pay it forward to people that have a dream and they want to achieve something creatively or something to feed their soul, no matter what it is, whether it's acting or just fill in the blank. Take chances. You got to believe in yourself. You got to do the whole Kamina thing. If you're not going to believe in yourself, believe in me, because I believe in you. So, do that stuff. Even when you think it's impossible, do the impossible. You got to do all that stuff. There's something there's a lot of truth behind all those inspirational quotes you hear. You think they're just cliches, but there really is truth in there. And
there is,
and that's the be all end all. It's not about the money or the fame or the status or any of that. That's all like, perks. You got to be doing something that makes you happy.
Yeah.
And if you're happy and you can make a living doing something that makes you happy, that's the be all end all right there.
That's the goal I'm aiming for with a lot of things
100%. 100%. I'm all about that.
Yeah, you guys are young. You got plenty of time.
We're young, relatively speaking. I mean, I'm no spring chicken anymore. Like there's so much stuff that's now that's just, I was like, oh man, like what's going on? What a TikTok voicing on that, putting your exposure on that, what's crazy. I remember I had to like just make demos, send them to people, go out online, just really just bare knuckle, just exploring, which was the style at the time.
Oh yeah. And I come from the time when you had to do demo CDs. So you're replicating all these CDs, paying for postage to mail them out to casting people.
Yeah.
At the time, the internet was there, but the technology wasn't necessarily a standard yet. But now it's easier than ever. In fact, the pandemic just kickstarted the whole recording from home thing. So that's what we do for the most part. Some studios are starting to open back up as things calm back down. But in general, it's like, hey, it doesn't matter where you live. We got this internet connection with Zoom and Skype, and we're able to record in broadcast quality.
And I will say that that's the one beautiful thing that's come out of the pandemic, was that everybody could just build an at-home studio and just start from there.
Exactly.
That's something that I definitely wanted to ask you about, just like with like the pandemic going on and whatnot, and a lot of like your voice acting peers either were going back into the studios or have just been like, all right, I'm just going to just set up at home. Do you feel more comfortable voicing at home as opposed to being in the studio?
I do, and nowadays it's more so because I'm spoiled, and it's so convenient to just like my recordings booth isn't a booth; it's my walk-in closet. So it's like pants are optional. It's like no one's gonna see me. Doesn't matter. It's like there's no driving, there's no sitting in traffic. There's just like, oh my gosh, let me roll out of bed and then roll into the closet, and then bam, we're off and running, but yeah, the studios have been really, really great. The engineers have helped all the actors with equipment recommendations and to things to kind of studio proof your recording environment. And the studios have really, really good cleaning protocols in place. So I do feel a lot safer than I would have in the thick of it,
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, so our friends of ours want to know, if you weren't doing voice acting, what would your career have been? What career would you have chosen?
Let's see. Well, I'm a big rock and roller. I love music. I played drums in middle school and high school, and the jazz band and all that. So I would probably be trying to make it as a rock drummer, or also as a movie fan. I like working behind the scenes. I think doing audio production, creating sound design or special effects, all that stuff just blows my mind. How all these different people, they don't get near the recognition as people on camera or whatnot, but they're really, really talented, and they're all just one little tiny piece of the puzzle to put it all together and create pop culture and entertainment for everybody.
The unsung heroes.
Yes, true facts.
Absolutely.
I believe it was a like it was more so like a look into like I believe it was for back when they were still Midway. They had like a behind the scenes briefing of just showing just how they did both the voicing, but more so the sound effects for games like Mortal Kombat. So like they were doing stuff like they would have like engineers like break celery sticks,
Yeah.
Slurp jello in order to simulate like a bullet going through someone, and like the weird gurgles and stuff like that. That
Yeah.
sound that was very cool.
That
And
has
to
a
hear that
name. It's called
definitely-
a Foley artist. Doing
Oh, wow.
Foley is creating the sounds with found objects, or sometimes you have to create. And it's like, yeah, you can do a lot of stuff like with a keyboard and samplers and all that. But, you know, watching in any like behind the scenes thing with people are like doing shoes on different things like sand or whatnot to get just the right sound. And there's different types of shoes, and you're like crinkling things to sound like putting your coat on, or zippers, like zipping all that, because all that stuff isn't done on the set. The mic can't pick it up.
Yeah.
So
all of that really like
ADR and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, I love those sounds. Like I don't know what brought it about, but like just the sounds of like when you hear shoes like clicking in the like during a hallway walk. I love that sound. I don't know why, but like it's a calming sound, like just hearing somebody walk through a hallway. And
man, look at that. We're just discovering his ASMR triggers and whatnot on
there you go. Today. There you go.
Oh,
incredible.
That's not.
Okay,
let's
everybody, pluck the negativity. Pluck
the You could do a really good. Look, if the podcast thing doesn't work out, I'd say you have a very lucrative career in the ASMR game.
Yeah, let me just do the DBZ narrator that goes total antithesis to, you know, it's like, everybody relax. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, I pour a bunch of goo on my expensive microphone, but it's okay because you like it. Send me all your money.
Well,
10 out of 10 would spend money on.
Absolutely. I'd support 100%.
But since we brought the Dragon Ball Z narrator, how did you land that role?
That came once I was already working on the show. I started with like bit part stuff because I was the new guy. They got to make sure that, you know, can he take direction well, and can he be consistent with the voice, and can he show up on time, and can he be professional, all these things, you know. And I was able to, I guess, fool them into believing I could do it because I hadn't done it before. You're matching lip sync to picture. And I was already doing teenage/adult Gohan with him going to high school and such. And a couple months later, Dale Kelly was the replacement narrator from the Canadian dub, Doc Harris. And for whatever reason, they didn't have Dale Kelly anymore. And they had my demo CD, and they said, "You've got a pretty wide range. Would you like to take a shot at the narrator?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yes." I used to just go around the house imitating "Next time on Dragon Ball Z." So at first, those first episodes that we dubbed was towards the end of the Cell Saga. And I tried to kind of mimic more what Dale Kelly did. And then I ended up settling kind of into my own register and did my own thing. And then we went back and redubbed all the episodes.
I definitely remember I'm not specifically sure like what episode it was, but you could definitely tell there was like more so a cadence change, vocal shift changes and whatnot over time from like the late part of like the Cell Saga all the way into like the Buu Saga and stuff like that. And even with like the redubbing and whatnot, you can definitely hear how much your voice has evolved just from you doing it.
Oh yeah, everybody's. If you watch the Dragon Ball Z Kai dub, which is controversial because a lot of people just prefer the original because that's what they grew up on. But as us, we were more experienced actors, and it almost felt like second nature, just like riding a bicycle or whatever. It almost directed itself because we were better actors, more experienced at the time. So we feel like it's better performances in that particular dub.
I personally didn't mind the dub for Kai. Like the original Z dub will always have a place in my heart, but is there something about Kai and how a lot of the lines were delivered
From an actor's standpoint, Kai definitely sounds more polished. Like,
oh yeah,
as like a big nerd and a big fan, when I was like, oh man, yeah, the OG dub, yeah, I love it. They were young and like they had like crazy lines that technically weren't in the show, but like when you get older, like big fandom nerd glasses on, it's like, oh well, he didn't actually say that. Well, that sort of thing. You start getting into that. And then it's like, oh, wow, the Kai dub clearly shows that not only were they more receptive of both like just the actual text on screen, but also, you know, their acting showcases that. So you have guys like Sean, who's like giving tremendous like showcases where like he's like threatening to just just kill the Supreme Kai point blank. And his delivery on that was just incredible. And
and this was a rare this was a rare opportunity because normally shows don't get redubbed for the most part. And this was a rare chance for the cast that we have now was able to come back and just redo those things after all this time. Because if I go back and watch my earliest stuff of Teen Gohan going to high school, I feel it's really wooden and awkward and all that. I mean, there's, I guess, a charm about that for when you're a little kid watching things and then you go back and watch it as an adult going, why did I like this?
Yeah,
it's like, if I only had more time, if we only had more time and production crunch to not have to knock it out as fast, you know. I feel like we could have finagled better performances, but as we got better, we didn't have to spend as many takes, so we can get more done faster. The technology is faster. On those days in the early 2000s, we were dubbing to tape. So if you blow the take, wait for the tape to rewind and all that stuff, but now it's instantaneous. We use a QuickTime video file and you can just knock out 100+ lines an hour easily.
Nice. So we have another question. What was one of the weirdest lines that you had to deliver?
I was about to ask that.
Probably just any line in a show that just sounds like a double entendre, just sounds out of context. It just sounds way too adult, you know?
So just any of Eisen's lines.
All of Eisen, anything he says. He sounds like he's trying to seduce you. Won't you join me in Hueco Mundo?
Let's be honest. Anybody that gets that invite from Eisen, they're just going to take it.
I'll accept it.
That's right. It's like,
what's the worst that can happen?
Kill you. Yeah. True facts. Yeah, there's so many things. We don't get to keep the scripts though. So you know, all the blown takes and everything. Like when I blow a take, I just start singing, like breaking out into song, and I'll take the word that next time on Dragon blah, 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 blah. Perhaps you've seen Vegeta when Chris Sabat is just an alternate take that he blew on purpose. He starts doing Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J.
Yeah.
Really?
And then that became his big thing for cons.
Oh yeah.
Where they would just have him just rap as anime voices.
Oh yeah.
Surprisingly, I never knew that.
Well, he has a singing background. You wouldn't know, but he actually did a little radio too. But radio people are kind of a rare thing. There's a crossover there because obviously you're in a booth on a microphone and all that stuff. But the people that come from being a DJ, they tend to have that announcer sound and all that. So that it's hard to break them of that to sound more natural. That's why it's a very different form of acting. And so that's why we always tell people, it's like, work with a voice coach, take classes and workshops and learn how to not talk at someone and try to sell them something, but actually have a conversation with someone. It's all kind of a mental, a mindset.
I hope you're taking notes, Eric.
Trust me, I am. Like this is going all in here.
That's good. See, there's another website too I want to recommend called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. This is done by the awesome D. Bradley Baker. He does tons of cartoon noises, creature sounds. His new thing is
love him.
He's the voice of Eagly on Peacemaker. Yep. So yeah, it's pretty wild, but he has this great voice acting website that teaches people about how do I go about doing this? What are the sort of things I need to look for? And it's really, really helpful.
I've grown up with D. Bradley Baker more so from him just being just the quote unquote slimy voice actor guy from like if you've ever seen like any show where it's like he's just like a slime ball. 9 times out of 10, it was either D. Bradley Baker or alternatively, he's like the voice, like he's pulling double duty because he's more or less like the successor to Frank Welker, where he's like the voice of a door opening. And it's absurd. Like it's crazy, but you're like, that's actually like a guy. Like that's not like ADR of somebody just opening a door. That's D. Bradley Baker just in the booth going, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you go to his website, I don't know if he still has it, but he has demos, voice demos of different things. Like here's a cricket demo. Here's an elephant demo. Here's a dolphin demo. It's like
crazy.
What?
A wide variety of just different animals.
Yeah, just not even just animals, just objects. Like he's like he can make the sound of a table moving.
He can do all that and not blow his vocal cords. He can go through like a 2-hour session with all these ungodly monster creatures. And it's like, oh, it's all in the nasal placement and all that stuff that's just way over everyone's head. But it's like, how you feeling, D? Do we need to take a break? No, I'm good. Oh my God.
That dude is on like a whole nother level.
Totally.
Let's see.
Ooh, I got one.
All right.
And any character you voice, who would you pick to be your roommate and why?
Great Saiyaman.
Yes.
He's a total nerd. I feel like we could just bond over sounding like over the top, like we're superheroes. Yes. Or a game show host. They sound like game show hosts / meanwhile at the Hall of Justice, sounds like Gary Owens back in the day. But I think Saiyaman would be a lot of fun. Nice. Or Kamina. Kamina could definitely be inspirational when it's hard to get out of bed and it's like you're lacking motivation. It's like, come on. That's the way Team Gurren rolls. It's like, yeah, all right, I'm going to do this. I adulted today.
that would be all the inspiration I need to just get out of bed. Like, all right, the world is my oyster today.
That's right.
Are you
see this guy with this blue hair just looks like crouching over you and like, hey, buddy.
And all right. Eric, you say, am I going to get out of bed? It's either that or get my teeth broken. So let's choose the better option here.
True facts.
Hey, look, true. Let's see. Has there ever been a role that you've declined for voice acting, and did you ever regret doing so?
No, because no one really says. I mean, for the most part, when you audition, even when you're established, it would be unfair if all they did was just offer roles to people, because how do new people get heard or have a chance? So everyone auditions to keep the playing field level and everything. Yeah. And the more you work with a studio, the directors kind of already know what you're capable of. So they may offer you roles that way. But no, usually, I mean, some of the content may be a little too adult, and I'll say I'd rather not work on that kind of thing because, I do want to do cartoons one day.
Yeah, understandable.
But, everyone just lets everything coming out of their mouth just flying on social media. So maybe the environment's different now, but I'm usually good with them offering a project, and I just count myself eternally lucky that I'm even in that place where I'm on their call sheet to try out for things.
Nice.
Okay. All right. This question, my friend asked me to ask it to you, and I laughed so hard when he gave me this question. Can any character you voice beat Goku?
Can it beat Goku?
Yeah. Any character that you voice, can they beat Goku?
In your humble opinion.
I think Aizen might put on a pretty good fight. I think Ryu would be close. You've got an alien basically, and then other characters, sure, with supernatural abilities. I mean, I guess they all kind of be lumped under that category.
Yeah.
That's true, but Goku's pretty tough. I mean, he's got like 57 Super Saiyan forms. So, but hopefully Gohan will get a crack. Be nice.
But
Let's make Gohan great again.
Goku has one major flaw. He's an idiot.
There's that. Plus, he's not the greatest dad. Gohan has proven to be a better dad and a better husband. And let's face it, Gohan's real dad is Piccolo.
You heard it here first.
Folks.
Canon.
You heard it here. It's canon. We don't care. It's canon. You heard it here.
Speaking of Gohan, so we don't have any concrete information about the new Dragon Ball Super movie, but everybody's speculating that it's going to be the Gohan movie.
I hope so.
Gohan's going to get his shine in this movie.
I hope so.
And I'm like, you can ask Eric, like, as much as I love Vegeta, Gohan was my original favorite character growing up. And Gohan, as an adult, started getting Goku's arrogance and letting people power up and do stupid things. The Buu Saga.
Yeah.
And like, I saw the trailers for Dragon Ball Super Superheroes. I'm just like, please let this be Gohan's moment.
Yeah,
like he took off the glasses. He got Piccolo's gi on. Like, please let this be his movie.
I seriously, I mean, you got to make up for him not even being mentioned in the Broly movie. As cool as that movie was, it's like, where's Gohan? Where'd he go?
That hurted.
Yeah.
That truly hurted. Like,
he's being a dad. That's where he is. He's being
that's great, but can we get a babysitter, maybe?
I mean, didn't they leave what's her name with Beerus?
They left Bra with Beerus, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Could have left Pan with him.
Sure.
True.
Oh, you could have left Pan with him. He could have came in.
All right.
Like,
so let's see. For another question, do you watch the animes that you do get casted in? And if so, do you feel either awkward, or what is your initial feeling hearing your voice on the finished product?
I still to this day think it's so cool that I get to be a part of this and do it. So I like hearing it, especially in the context of hearing it play off other actors' performances and see it in the final context and everything. So I'm always excited. Not enough hours in the day to watch everything. I got that first world problem. I'm in so many projects that I couldn't possibly get through it all, especially things like One Piece. It's like, I never started that one, but every couple of years, my guy Capone comes back and
you got to be there for it.
Got to
be there for it.
Eventually, we will all catch up to One Piece. Maybe when it's finished, but
I'm caught up. I cheated. I just have people read it for me and then just give me like the small little tidbits, the important stuff. So that's how you catch up.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, it does. 100% counts.
Watch all 1,000 plus episodes.
No, thank you.
Ooh.
1,000 and plus episodes. No, thank you.
To be fair, Case Close is still going.
And am I watching that? No.
Yeah, just because it strikes fire in Japan doesn't mean so it'll do over here. I mean, come on, Yu Yu Hakusho was great, and that should have continued. And
trust me, I have a strong stance of why it should have continued and why, and just lots of heated words and just very rated R statements that I don't want to just say on air right now. But just know I'm in the same camp of that should have continued.
My opinion about the City Yu Yu Hakusho is I would love if it got like a Kai-esque re-release.
That would be actually very interesting.
On the other hand, did the OVA even get dubbed?
Eventually, I believe it did. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not on that at all, but I know there was a big push to get that done. It was originally done with the LA talent pool and people that I know and work with, but it's like, oh, my worlds are crossing. This is so bizarre.
And like I just have I love Yu Yu Hakusho and I appreciate Togashi for creating it. I just have really mixed feelings about him and Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
More so just his work ethic of, new Dragon Quest came out, time to just abandon everyone.
Oh,
I mean, there was one, if I remember correctly, there was one time where him and he told his whole team, all right, we're going on hiatus. We're playing every Dragon Quest game. See y'all in about like 2 years or so. And we got no new chapters of Hunter x Hunter for almost 2 years.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I'm just like
it's very weird when
this?
you just have a creator who just goes like, yeah, it's cool that I'm making enough money for my project, but also games.
Video games.
Isn't that really the dream at the end of the day? Like, you just want to be able to just go like, I've made enough of a product that you guys are okay if I take like a 2.5 year hiatus for games, it's fine. I'll be back, maybe.
I'll think about it.
Right.
We'll give you a call. We'll let you know how we feel. But like now it makes sense now because like if I remember correctly, he has like lower back problems. So he can't like
health issues are like definitely at play.
Like that's understandable, but games, come on, we need this arc to finish. Like, come on, throw us a bone.
It's not necessarily that. It's more so when you think of it just in the context of like the production and like various works and whatnot. Like think of like I feel as if not a lot of people actually give thought to the fact that like, all right, say like a creator when they're doing their work, like it's a very long running series. It's on like a long hiatus, but then it has like an anime that's coming out. Suddenly, like the Japanese voice actors get their work done, then the American crew gets in, but then it all just reaches like a big pit stop. And especially like if it blows up or something like that, and suddenly just like almost everyone's either just like, oh, well, I don't know what's gonna happen, or everybody just goes like, all right, it's time to move on. And then suddenly, not necessarily like it stops being popular, but more so it's just not in the cultural mindset. For shows like say Demon Slayer, big popular show and whatnot that's out right now. Do you personally feel that with how I would say how consumable anime has gotten as of late, do you feel as if there's more pressure on like voice actors to constantly be like, all right, we got to be in the booth, we got to do this, that, and the third, because now with like how social media is, oh man, we did like a bad episode, now they're gonna start like just like clowning us on social media, on like Twitter, there's gonna be like big dumb rant threads and stuff, like a bunch of greasy nerds are gonna say mean things about me. We got to make sure that we just like we pull out all the stops for this episode. Do you feel like that pressure is on you whenever you go into the booth or anything like that?
I don't feel a sense of pressure beyond, just my own professional work ethic of just giving 110% during the performance and honor what the director's asking of me to do, or if they ask for my input, then I do that. But I am there for their product, whether it's the director or the client sitting in on the call or whatnot. We have to please what they want. And now more than ever, thanks to social media, I think the studios in Japan and America and everywhere are listening to you get that live instant pulse of what the people are saying and craving, what they want in terms of shows to get licensed and whatnot. And I think it's a great time to be a fan. So on my end, I don't feel the pressure. I just feel like I'm going to do the best I can with whatever opportunities come my way. And hopefully the fans like what we get to be a part of.
That I couldn't have worded it better myself.
That's 100% the best mindset to have, I feel, in this situation, especially with the advent of social media, more than ever, I would say fans are vocal about what they like and what they dislike. So I'm not sure if you like saw it, but for when Funimation got like into like its big issue because of certain like script changes and whatnot, and a lot of it was more so just like one word was changed or dialogue was made, so then like the characters felt more relatable, but fans were also just like, oh man, like this isn't 100% directly accurate to the show, or why is this adding that? That's not what they said in the Japanese dub. And then
the source material.
Do you feel as if like when in cases like that, or especially like when in situations with like simul dubs, especially where like Japanese dub will come out, simulcast, like the Japanese dub will come out, and then like almost I want to say like a good 3 hours or so later, like the English dub will usually be like out. Would you consider those like more so rush jobs, or just like the staff are just 100% just like on point so then they can get the stuff out.
Again, I don't think it's affecting the acting, but it's definitely a crunch and stress on the production side to get the script adaptations at such a quick level. The animation isn't necessarily 100% done by the time we're dubbing it. When you're getting those shows out simultaneously, it's a great time to be a fan, because back in the day, in the 90s or whatnot, a show or a movie would come out and you'd have to wait a year or longer. I think Naruto took 5 years before you had an English dub. But now you get some movies and they're coming out within days or even hours, like you said, and they're getting a worldwide release. And that's who you have to think about now, the global audience, you know, and streaming has created a whole new business of distribution. You know, it's like, oh, there's less overhead. We don't have to spend money on creating a physical product, but they know that fandom, a lot of them are still into physical media. So they'll still, you know, cater to that. But things like Crunchyroll and Funimation.com and all that, those are still huge because people are able to just consume it on a quicker level.
Yeah. Like it's funny because I believe the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, it debuted in Japan, I think late last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we were supposed to get it over here in June, but I don't know what happened. But now we're getting it in March. Like we're getting it both dubbed and subbed in March. So that's a whole 3 month cut from the initial release date. I'm just like, what happened that caused it for us to get it early? Like,
that is a good question.
Like I found that weird.
I was so minimally involved on the show. I mean, I think I'm in the movie for like 2 lines or something. And like, I don't know what's going on with that. But oh no, I had a bigger part on that. Jujutsu Kaisen. That's right. I had the guy with the epic eyebrows. Old man playing the flying V guitar.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The name's escaping me, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. That guy. He's pretty epic. But yeah, I think just a lot of those decisions can come down to the original studio. At what rate do they want a timeline to get the final thing done? And a lot of times also another stressful item is the elements, the production elements, having the raw footage in time or the rough translated scripts in time. A lot of times the directors don't even know if characters are going to come back or not. They'll record someone who's in like an episode or two and think that they're done. And then you find out, oh, they're the giant villain of the series or something. And then like, oh, your part's much bigger than we thought. Like, oh.
and when that does happen, I assume that you guys have to then go through like a whole set of like new contract negotiations and stuff like that. Because initially, nobody knew that like Aizen was going to be as big as he was. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, like he's like the main series overarching villain for like a large majority of it. So sure enough, when you came into the booth and you did like good guy Aizen stuff, you didn't think or didn't even have like any clue that like, yeah, in about like 3 episodes, he's going to actually showcase himself to be the antagonist of the series. And did they like come to you with that information, or did you find out like while they were finding out?
I found out the day I started recording as the character. They said, congrats, you've been you're the big baddie. And it's like, okay, well, I know he starts off ambiguously good. And because I guess the show had already, by the time it was licensed, it had already been out in Japan for a few years, right? So had a little heads up there. So that was nice. We got all the production elements and everything from Viz, and that's how we've been working. We finished Bleach a few years ago, and hopefully this year we'll get to do the final arc. We'll do an English dub. I don't know that we will. I don't see why we wouldn't.
I pray that Thousand Year Blood War gets an English dub. I very much
would like to see it dubbed.
Yeah, I mean, they've announced a date for like what, October or something for the Japanese version. I haven't been contacted, so I don't know if they would bring back the cast, even if they decide to do a dub. And I think it'd do really well though if they decide to and they air it on Toonami or something. I think it'd be huge.
It'd be great. Like it would be so amazing to hear you, Johnny, I forgot who voiced Rukia. Oh my
Oh,
god.
Michelle Ruff.
Michelle Ruff. There we go.
Yeah.
I love a lot of roles
Michelle,
she plays.
Stephanie, the whole gang.
Oh yeah.
It'd be great to see y'all back for 1,000-Year Blood War. Because
Yeah.
especially reading it, it's like, ooh,
Like
this
reading it,
arc
it's
is
just like, oh man,
rough.
all of this stuff is crazy. But then actually seeing it animated after all these years of it not being on air, now having just like new animators on staff, probably like a new voice selection as far as like ADR crew and stuff. So they'll be able to work that magic and all that crazy stuff.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, because it's been like a recent trending topic in terms of like for the voice acting world, with the situation regarding Hulu with its resurrecting Futurama for the upteenth time, and a lot of media outlets more so misquoting John DiMaggio, saying or trying to paint him out to be like some sort of heinous bad guy. It's like, oh man, Bender's not coming back because he just wants money. Do you more so feel that it's more so because he recently was talking about how it's not more so he wants money for himself, he wants it for the entire staff.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would hope that you definitely do share those sentiments more so because of like with how voice acting is, it's very weird how a lot of people, when they see it, they don't necessarily, or rather those who aren't in the community heavy more so just see like, oh man, you're just talking to a mic, you just can do this. And now with like the advent of like crazy technology where you can like store a person's voice on like online data banks and stuff like that, that's already like causing like a big can of worms and whatnot. I definitely wanted to get your opinion about that.
I think it's cool technology, but it's almost, it works better as a novelty, I think. Otherwise, it's a legit threat to any sort of actor, because it's like when studios can save money, they're going to take every shortcut they can, despite things being established, despite all that. I mean, come on, Lucasfilm, we're not going to pay Mark Hamill to at least record a Luke thing.
Yeah, that was,
and we're just going to just feed all this old stuff of Luke Skywalker into the computer and have it spit out a really wooden performance that just, it sounds like him, but it just sounds like he's phoning it in. It's just like, okay, R2, let's just take care of it. It's like, it's hollow. There's no soul. There's no warmth to it. And maybe in 10, 20 years, maybe a computer can fake an actual performance. But, and whenever that happens, or in between the time of that, I think it's a legit threat. I think studios will try to cut corners, and actors are suddenly out of a job because, or we'll be signing new contracts and maybe we'll get a usage fee. Maybe they'll try to pay us some lowball one-time fee saying we get to use your voice on our hard drive any way we want from now, but we're going to just give you this quick payoff. That's not going to even compare to the money they would make on the project. I mean, technically with Bender, you could just AI it, but you know, I know a lot of actors were taking each other's back on as far as seeing the audition, saying they're casting Bender, they're recasting Bender. It was like, don't read for it, man, because that's someone's role.
Like that's like it's been so many years that like it's John. Like when you think of Bender, you think of John DiMaggio's voice.
Yeah, especially people of any of that cast talent and improv ability. They've helped bring those characters to life in a way that even the writers didn't anticipate. So yeah, if you're just going to simply replace with someone else who can kind of sound like him, that doesn't mean he's going to give the same level of performance. I'm not trying to dog on whoever they get to replace him, but I feel sorry for him because they're going to get instantly compared. Oh, that's bad.
That's going to be
John and that whole cast have been very, very well paid, and deservedly so through the years. They've had this happen before with The Simpsons and other shows where they would just do this whole diversionary tactic of, it's like, oh, we don't want to pay you. Oh, you are just, you know, expendable. We'll just recast. It's like, guys, you don't know what you're dealing with here. If you change a cast, you're going to lose an audience. Maybe not everyone, but you're going to lose people.
A good chunk that would have appreciated it now are just going to be like, oh man, this isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And despite his success in animation through the years with all these different cartoon and game projects, yeah, he's living the high life and maybe he can afford to not do it anymore. That's great, but it's the principle. It
Yeah,
is the principle of it all. So, golly, will they pull like a Hail Mary pass at the last second and just go ahead and bring him in? That would be great. And if he
I
somehow was
very
just
much would
keeping
hope
that
so.
under wraps, sure. But otherwise, I just don't see how it's going to work.
yeah. That's a can of worms that they're gonna have to deal with if they decide to recast for Bender. And
It's
yeah,
definitely going to be something that I feel would like change more so like for seniority projects as they were, where it's like this has been like a cast that's been together for like almost like a 14 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be paying them like all the money knowing that you'll make it back 3 times over?
yeah,
Like he said on his tweet, it's like negotiations or renegotiations are a part of the business. That happened with the Friends cast back in the day. As shows get more popular, the actors and their managers and everything try to get more money because they know the studio's making more money. So it's not cutting into their profits. It's just like, hey, everybody deserves a piece of the pie. You guys are getting the pie. Let's divvy it up amongst the crew, the staff, everybody deserves to bathe in the success of whatever it is.
Right. Especially now more than ever with like the pandemic and whatnot.
Oh God,
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to words. Why do they escape me today? Okay, so like dream roles. Recently, like with the when they were revealing the cast for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, everybody was excited when they found out that Kira Buckling got the role of Jolene. As much as she loved the character so much, she has the Joestar tattoo on her left shoulder blade, and that was like a crowning moment for her because she was so happy that she got to voice her dream character. Have you ever felt that way about a character that you voiced?
It's pretty wild to me to just be involved with any sort of popular thing. So being Gohan in Dragon Ball or Ryu in Street Fighter, this is iconic character, iconic franchise. So it's just like, wow, I sometimes have to pinch myself, that I get to do this. I didn't anticipate it. I knew that one day I would be doing voices for animation, but I didn't know it would be mostly anime and video games. And I feel very proud and grateful that I've gotten to do this. And I try to keep an open mind in terms of projects, the type of projects to do in voiceover, because it's just such a wonderful community to be a part of. And
It really is.
Stretching your acting chops and trying new things, so you don't just become complacent. I think that's a good thing. So yeah, I just want to keep working, dream roles. Yeah. Throw me. I could be happy dying as a stormtrooper in Star Wars. I could seriously. And I know people in the industry who've gotten to do that, so, hey, Yuri Lowenthal, Lex Lang, Steve Bloom. God,
it's so
guys.
crazy, like, because with Yuri Lowenthal specifically, because like me, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, super big Marvel nerd and whatnot. It's still like a dream of mine to just be in a Marvel project.
Sure.
It's so funny to me to just like know a lot of people don't know that like Yuri Lowenthal, when he got the Spider-Man role for Spider-Man PS4 and whatnot, that wasn't his actual first venture into just more so just being Spider-Man, the character, because he was actually in like a random iOS game for Spider-Man doing the role. Like you can clearly see like in there, he's like, he has like the mannerisms, like the audio takes and whatnot. He's definitely has the vocal cadence down packed. And then just to see him now, where it's just like, yo, like he's doing like what most Hollywood critics would consider like an Oscar-worthy performance in this video game. And he's also doing like motion capture and stuff too. So the scene with him where he's like breaking down and he's having like the super emotional moment with Doc Ock, and he's like, "You were everything that I wanted to be," and like you can clearly feel like the hurt and pain in that man's soul from that take. And I'm like, it's incredible how much a voice talent can just like improve over time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And when people say, oh, they just keep using the same people, there's a reason for that. They're great actors. It's not about the voice. A lot of people misunderstand that voice acting, and it's like, oh, I could do a bunch of voices. It's like, but can you act? It's a great party trick, and your friends and family love you for it. But can you lift that performance up off the page? And that's what people like Yuri and all that have been able to do for so many years, and they continue to. And as we get new crops of new generations of actors coming up, it's an exciting time to see what raw talent there is and what the veterans can bring to the table still.
I definitely would like to know, like, is there not necessarily like a challenge thrown out between like the older voice actors? So like say like you, Chris, Tara, like older, Gray, like old school, like Legionnaire voice actors. Is there more so like a challenge for you guys to like more so stay up against like the younger talent when it comes to vocal performances? Like, oh man, like, yeah, wow, that was really good. Now I got to go in there and like do my best and stuff like that. Like, do you feel like that's something that you go through when you go into the booth and like you see the younger talent coming up? So like say like guys like Zeno Robinson, Tiana Camacho, people like them, those younger talents, when they get to be with older voice actors who have more experience and they're showing that like, wow, like these guys are like really good. Do you more so feels like, all right, now I got to step my game up?
I think there is truth when people say there's enough work to go around, because, you know, I'm still working. I don't get the lead roles the way the young people do, but I'm still called in to still be a part of huge projects. And once in a while, I'll get something that resonates with people, getting to be a part of Seven Deadly Sins as Escanor and all these things. It's just, I feel like, it's like, am I getting washed up and am I just going to get phased out? It's like, no. That's not how this industry works. Everyone is super supportive of each other. The Kirk Thorntons, the Richard Epcars, the Wendy Lees, the Mary Elizabeth McGlynn's, who've been doing this for decades. They're still working. They are still working. And, you know, there is forward momentum in that respect. Once you're entrenched in it, you're going to keep going. And yeah, you may get surpassed occasionally. Someone else who started later and younger than you may suddenly get more successful and all that. And we're all human. We're all like, man, I wish that was me and all that. But you got to keep it real. You got to stay grounded and say to yourself, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. If it's not, then it's not. Don't lose sleep over it. Don't cry over it. Just do the best you can with the opportunities you're given. And everything is an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity.
That's definitely something I needed to hear.
Same.
Yeah, and this happens to everyone, no matter where they are in their career. A new person or someone who's been doing it for decades, they'll be like, man, I wish I could have, should have. We have all the same doubts, the same paranoia thoughts. It's like, did I say or do the wrong thing to that casting person who will never hire me? You're like, we're all human, you know, and we all break down, but the mindset is such a huge thing to just keep you refocused and keep eyes on the prize.
I definitely needed to hear that. I really did. All right, so about like one or two more questions.
Okay.
If you had to make a top 5 list of characters you voiced in anime and video games, who would you put on that list?
Well, Gohan's up there because Dragon Ball games are great, like Fighter Z, however people call it.
Speaking of fighters, quick question.
Yeah.
For a large majority of fighters' life, up until like about a good year or so ago, adult Gohan was more so seen as one of the upper echelons of the top tiers. How does that make you feel? Especially because you're voicing Ryu. Ryu right now is arguably one of the best characters in 5. How do you feel when like you see like, have you ever like gone on Twitter and like seen like big tournament win, such and such player knocks it out of the park with Ryu and on? Do you ever sit there? I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I get giddy like a schoolgirl. I mean, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And yeah, I feel that with things like Ryu, always special to my heart, because as a professional in the industry, It's just another one of those bucket list things, getting a part of an iconic franchise. I mean, and I'm part of many, so it's like, oh my God, it happened again. But with Street Fighter, I got to be a part of Disney's Wreck-It Ralph and getting called in on that. Even though it's a cameo, it's like, oh, I got into a Disney film and didn't have to be a movie star or celebrity. It's like, yeah, winning.
It's a small role, but it's still a win.
Yeah. Kamina's definitely just a huge one for me, because I've heard from so many fans about how inspiring and positive that character has turned things around for their mindsets when they're depressed, whenever they're going through a tough time. And that's something you don't anticipate. You know, you do your art, you get it out there, and then you hear feedback. But when you hear it made a difference, and suddenly I'm remembering something the late great Stan Lee said. It's like, okay, so I'm not curing cancer or anything like that, but I'm creating something that helps people. It's almost like therapy in our own way. You know, we're not doctors, but we are helping people in a way, in our own unique way. And it's like, you know what? He's right. He's right. We all need an escape from the harsh reality from time to time, whether it's a game or a show or a cartoon or whatnot. So that has been amazing to hear in person and online, people sharing the story about what something did for them that I got to be a part of.
Yeah. Like I can definitely say, like, okay, so I don't know how this is gonna come out, but I'm just saying anyway. Like, since I've been able to speak and in like taking shows or whatever, almost every kind of media I've indulged in, you voiced in.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's like I could like I told Eric a bunch of times, like, I consider you my indirect babysitter, seeing as I grew up with a lot of your roles, like watching a lot of stuff you were in.
A lot of the productions that you've been in have more or less been keeping us from like being in trouble in the streets, or just giving us more motivation to just actually make this into a career. So that's definitely like something that, like, at the end of the day, you can 100% be like, yeah,
I didn't anticipate that would be this huge perk. It's like you're inspiring people to follow their dreams, even if it's completely totally different than yours. I've heard people saying, I watched Dragon Ball Z and that inspired me to be a doctor or a policeman or whatnot, or I took up martial arts because of Dragon Ball Z, or Kamina. I found motivation to pull myself out and do whatever. And it's like, oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah. Like Kamina in general is just like, listen, I will build a shrine for Kamina if I could. That's how much that character means to me.
That's pretty epic.
Like, man, I can go on for days, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, it's really cool when I'm at a con and people they'll look at my banner with all the different characters I've done and they'll freak out, like, you were Kamina? And like, just when I think, okay, this obscure show that people are like, what is a Gurren Lagann? What does that mean? Like, it's the name of the show. It's it's a one-season anime.
And then they watch, it's like, oh, they're throwing galaxies at each other. Okay.
As shurikens. Yes.
That still bothers me to this day. It's like, that galaxy just died.
Look, it's
because
fine.
What?
Look,
how is that fine?
Listen, you gotta understand, motivational power and energy and whatnot in the series, they could just resurrect it. It's fine.
That's very true.
But galaxies.
Hey, look,
entire galaxies.
Entire galaxies.
All that just means now is that there's a whole new planet in a new galaxy. Look at that. Like the space trade is now available. Interstellar travel is now crazy. Like, imagine, like, they just through a galaxy and now suddenly Mars is like a 3-hour drive in like a spaceship from Earth. Hey, look, man, you got to take the bad with the good. Like,
yeah, sure thing, man.
Oh my God, that I can't. You have any other questions, Eric? Like,
I'm tapped out. I definitely got all. As a matter of fact, not necessarily a question.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for you, Kyle, to, if anything, can you give us a classic for those of us 90s kids out there, can you give us a classic Radio Disney sign off from the Squeege?
Oh, old school. Wow.
But
This is Squeege live from the Intergalactic Boombox, which happens to be my podcast nowadays. Please subscribe and listen. Anyway, I'm like, oh yeah, we're having a grand old time here. We got some Weird Al coming up. We got Backstreet Boys, Britney, the Macarena, some All-Star. It's gonna be awesome. Plus, we're giving away. Oh, and we got a Bop It. We got some Pokemon cards and maybe some Beanie Babies. We got it all. So keep it here. Oh, we're all ears. Radio Disney.
Oh man,
nostalgia.
Oh.
But yes, you did say your podcast.
Now.
Right. But go ahead and tell our beautiful viewers about your podcast and where they can find it at.
Absolutely. My podcast is available anywhere you listen to podcasts. So that's easy enough. The Intergalactic Boombox. And it is geek news, and it's just me. It's me. I've created some original characters, a couple aliens, a conspiracy theorist named Kenspiracy. He sounds like J. Jonah Jameson. And then I got a couple of slacker stoner aliens like, one sort of sounds like Rick Moranis, and this other one sounds like this, And then I interact with these characters. I have edit and overlap and all that stuff. So I make it sounds like there's much more people than actually are in the room. So I talk about geek stuff. I'm talking about Peacemaker getting renewed and all that on the episode that I'm mixing tonight. So yeah, if you like geek news with a comedic slant and just hearing me and all the voices in my head come out, check out the Intergalactic Boombox.
I'll have everything linked in the description below for all of you who are watching this on YouTube. And if you listen to it on wherever you listen to our podcast at, it'll be in the description box on it. We'll
be sharing it out. Listen, if you follow us here on the Geeks, we'll surely be sharing out the Intergalactic Boombox on all socials. So please do us all a favor. Tune in.
There you go.
Show your support.
Yeah, if you like it, tell a friend. If you like it, tell a friend. Spread the good word.
Exactly. So I'd like to thank you so much for this interview. It's been a blast.
Thank you. My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
And hopefully at the next con, we're all at. Look, I'll buy some
coffee
wings.
Or something.
Like a coffee, some wings.
Bring buffalo wings. Hopefully we can do this again in another 10 years.
Buffalo wings.
Let's not wait another 10.
Yeah.
Let's not wait another 10, but I feel like we should just have this now just be like an annual occurrence. Just like here we are 10 years from now. The Intergalactic Boombox is already on like its 14th season on Amazon Prime. The Geeks of the Roundtable, they're doing okay.
They're doing all right.
Oh man, but definitely because we're finally about to start season 4 of our podcast, and we would definitely love to have you on as a live guest.
Oh, cool.
Like that'll be a treat.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you again for the interview, for just being so chill and indulging in us nerding out.
And again, just from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for just taking the time out from your busy schedule just to come and just indulge us.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for sharing the love. That means a lot. I'm glad that what I'm doing is making a difference.
It really is. But with that said, thank y'all all for tuning in, and we will see y'all with the next one. Good night, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
And beep.